Hi, my name is Rhojay Byfield. I'm a current student at the College of Staten Island, pursuing my graduate degree in history and also to obtain my advanced public certificate as well. I am pursuing my internship with Heather Quinlan to obtain any information on the second Asbury African Methodist Episcopal Church on Staten Island. The first church was built in 1813 to 1822 in Manhattan. However, the church was pulled down, but there weren't any records of why the church was pulled down. I wasn't able to find any information on that as well. My researcher also wasn't able to find any information on why the church was pulled down. But the main focus of the project is about the second Asbury African Methodist Episcopal Church, AME for short. So the current address would have been for this church that's no longer there, and cemetery. So church and cemetery would have been 1440 Forest Avenue. As a commuter to Staten Island, if you take the shuttle bus from the ferry to campus, you'll be actually able to pass the mini mart on your way to campus. So a little bit about the church. The church was first founded by John W. and Tabitha Blake. Those were the original owners. The church was sold to them on April 1st, 1850. So they were the original owners of the church. The church was then sold off to Nathan Barrett on September 10th, 1850. Then they would go back and forth with switching churches back and forth again. And so eventually, this is the actual deed of the ownership that is now Max Maiden, right? AKA the Gamma Inc. That's what officially got into their possession on December 9th, 1980. But according to the deed here, it was recorded in the Richmond County Clerk office on June 6th, 1967. So this was the actual deed of the church. So the church did eventually go back and forth with a lot of hands, and a lot of information about the church was a bit lost throughout history, or a lot of information wasn't really as documented. With doing so, even finding the church itself was a task in its own, because a lot of information was either in this type of manner where you could barely see the information on the form, or most of the information were either in this form when it's barely able to read it, and most of the stuff that I was able to find were not really legible. So I'm still trying to conduct research on finding the last remnants of any information that I could find about the church to the final stages. So the final stages now is to just gather any bits and pieces that I could get from Clerk's office. I think I have the Clerk's office on Staten Island. I think I've utilized all the information that I could get from them. I've utilized all the information that I could get from the New York Public Library, and also the tax department on Staten Island as well. So there's little to no information on the church and why it was destructed and how it ended up becoming a strip mall at the moment. However, there is small crumbs that are able to follow. So to be able to find the deed of the church and to be able to find the last remnants of who actually owns the property and trying to find the missing pieces. So that's actually what I'm doing, to making sure that this project wraps up in a pretty nice bow, to find any remnants as to what's missing, so that Heather could finish her documentation on this project. Thank you.